Juicy Scoop. I have the favorite, yes, my life partner in comedy, Chris Franjola. Welcome back to Juicy Scoop.
Thank you very much. So happy to be back.
Were you a little jealous I had Josh Wolf?
I was, yes, I listened to it. I enjoyed it. I was a little jealous.
Okay, well.
But I don't think he's going to get into the favorites of all time.
Okay.
Up there with me and, a few others.
No, I mean, well, first of all, he lives too far away.
Exactly. I'm
So
down the
thank
street.
Thank God he moved. Otherwise, I think you'd be shaking in your boots.
I would. Yeah. People love him. I can't compete with that.
He's just, well, he was delightful. And the conversation was like kind of inspiring and we really got into like Hollywood deals and stuff. And I think people find that kind of interesting.
They did.
That.
I actually listened to it and I found it very interesting. And I also found, as I was listening to it, thinking, God, I haven't done anything in this business. like, remember that deal? Remember that deal? Remember that deal? And I was thinking, well, I've never had any deal ever. Never.
But here we're all in the same boat.
I know.
In the end,
that is the only...
we're all in the same podcast, stand-up comedy, getting back on the road.
Right. It's the only thing I have to fall back on. Yeah. It's just like, we all did everything, but we all did nothing. You know what I mean?
Seriously, like unless you're Seinfeld or Friends or something, like what is the legacy truly?
I liked that you said in the end, and I feel the same way now that I have kid and stuff. It is in the end, it's just like that's the stuff that kind of, not to sound like, some inspirational speaker, but in the end, like that's really what matters. Like none of this stuff matters.
No,
because
it's like
it ebbs and it flows. Like look at Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
She was the biggest star in the world. Now, like
every week she was like, I'm skinny, I'm fat. I don't care. I love cake. Now I'm skinny. Now I'm fat. Now I've got a new show. Now I'm just wearing maxi dresses. Now I'm skinny again.
Right.
That was like every year.
And then if you showed a picture of her to a 21-year-old person, they were like, who is this person? Like, I'm sure the whole world, she was striving to be where she was.
Yes.
And now it doesn't, like Jay Leno is now out playing these clubs here in town. And I see him taking pictures of people. And I showed my friend and they're like, who's that old man? And I'm like, it meant something 30 years ago. But I guess it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
So.
But at least he's, married and happy and can tool around his cars and is so rich. But he was one of those people that, I only spend my stand-up money.
Yeah.
All my money from the show I don't spend. And I'm like, how pissed are you that you're the wife?
I know.
Like, wait a minute. We're not saving it for our children. It's just you and me.
Yeah.
Why are we not enjoying it more? Which is now like I'm having money things in my head because being such a cheap, frugal person who I was a little like that. Then I married Peter, so it just like doubled over. And now I'm just like, no, I'm actually like, I'm doing well. My kids are old. Like I've accomplished something. It's time to like start living the way the 30-year-olds are living that I see on TikTok. Like I should have a nicer kitchen, but it's hard. It's hard to be like, okay, let's bite the bullet because you just think that you're going to be on the street.
It's going to be over tomorrow.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed when you walked in here. Did you see the scooter?
I did see the bird scooter, one of those rentals.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could take those inside. Can you take them
we
inside?
bought it illegally.
Oh.
And Peter wrote it here. Peter wrote it here because he has been waiting on his Tesla for 6 months now.
Oh, you
got rid of his other car 6 months ago. We live so frugally that he shares the truck with Drake.
And
so Drake needs the truck today. So he scootered to the office.
Wow.
And Drake said it was so embarrassing because he and his friend were mountain bike riding around the Santa Monica Mountains and they were coming back to the house. And they witnessed Peter on a scooter.
Yeah. With
the sack like for the computer bag. And his friend is like, look at that weird, like trying to be hipster nerd, but he's too old. And he's like, that's my dad.
Oh, no.
He's like, why is that old man on a scooter?
On a scooter with a satchel.
And he's just waiting. Well, I just got another email from Tesla. I swear it's coming this month. I'm like, it's never coming.
No.
It's never coming because of that chip problem or whatever.
Oh, is that
Nobody
what it
can
is?
get a car. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm like, can we...
Is he going to space? Is he one of the other ones who's going? Isn't he
Peter?
planning a space trip? No, not Peter. Not yet, at least. Maybe eventually. But
I have no desire to go to space at all. It scares the shit out of me. Ever since Sandra Bullock was lost in space, I am like, I've been like lost, like.
There was a TV show called Lost in Space.
I don't want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to be that
in the dark, I love sunshine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be in the dark ever. And then remember when she was floating around, but she could see the earth, but she couldn't get down?
Yeah.
And it was like, and then she was running out of breath. And I'm like, I panic that much when my phone is like at 10%. I don't need to fucking be out trying to breathe.
And then everything you drop just floats away. like now you drop your phone like, oh, did I break it? Now it's like, it's gone. It's on Venus.
What is the I don't.
I know. I feel exactly the same way you do, but I'm almost afraid to say it because I don't want to feel dumb. I want to be one of those guys who's like, space, we need to explore it. I don't really understand why. And also, what they're doing now, like the rich people, they're not even really going to space. They're just going like the edge of space and coming right back. I mean, that guy was back in 15 minutes the other day with Bezos. I'm like, wait a minute, he's back? I thought he was up there for a month and a half. But
I know you can go to a stimulus. You can go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then you could also go and fly up at Universal where they put the air up on you, like where it's a parachuting thing, which is basically the same thing.
Indoor
you can do the whole thing and not even leave like Los Angeles.
No.
I just don't get it. Yeah, I have no desire to do that. Speaking of being out yesterday.
Do you think the rich people are doing it? Like these are the billionaires.
Yeah.
Are they just doing it to eventually
check it off the list?
Yeah. No, they're just going to build something up there and leave this shithole to the poor people. Like they'll be like, all you poor people stay down there with this, the hot temperatures and whatever else. And we'll be up here.
Yeah,
you guys stay down with your Cricket Wireless and your home goods and whatever else.
Have you seen that commercial? Have you seen that commercial where all these kids are like, and then the businesses go, we've accepted the challenge, where they're all like really mad at the camera. And they're like, thanks for ruining our earth because of you.
Yeah.
My son Drake, who's 18, he's not your typical kid. He's like, I hate this commercial. These kids are just such assholes. Why are they giving everybody such a dirty look? No, I don't accept the challenge. I'm like, Drake, you're the one that should also be angry that the earth is like, he's just like, I don't care. Like, oh my God. Speaking that now the masks are back in LA.
The masks are back. Yeah, we're back. At least indoors.
I've had now 2 embarrassing situations happen.
Oh no, what happened?
I'm always down for wearing a mask. I brought him back. I never checked him. Whatever. I'm at Lululemon. Don't mean to brag. It's time to buy
some workout outfits.
I bought these new shorts there. And that was another thing. Like I go, Heather, Lululemon is right next to your hairdresser. You should get new leggings. I'm like, girl, you don't need it.
Now, what does a pair of Lululemons go for? Leggings?
They're not that much.
150?
I don't know because they didn't have the pants. I like the pants that have a circular thing, not a strip up the badge. They stopped making them. So I go, where's the circular? I don't like to have a camel toe. I have a long space between the top of my waist and my crotch. So if it can go up the crotch and it's a camel toe.
Wait a minute.
So instead they did the seam like a moon.
Okay.
So instead of going up your clit, like up your vajag, it'd go like that.
Okay.
And I love them and I still have them, but they're getting a little tired. So I was like, Heather, stop it. You're not Britney Spears. You could actually go in this store and buy a pair of Lululemons. Why don't you do it? Like you deserve it. Like everybody, that's 12 has a pair of Lululemons. Why don't you? They stopped making so I'm like, well, I don't want it, but I bought these like light shorts that I really like.
Okay.
Anyway, so I come out to ask about this top if they could get in a bigger size, and the girl's like, yes, we do. And I go, I'm thinking in my head, yes. Are you a Juicy Scoop or I'm Heather McDonald? She goes, can you put on your mask? And I was like, oh, that happened 2 times. Where I was like, yeah, it's me. And she's like, ah! like scared that she's gonna get the. What is it? The Delta variant?
Delta variant. That's the new
I immediately go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll put it back on, So that happened a few times. And then, but a couple things with, now they're really pushing for the, really like you got to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
And look, I respect people that think that they're going to turn into a lizard and I get it. Or whatever the reasons are, I'm not mocking you. I get it. But
some people get magnetic. They're able to stick keys to their neck. Have you seen that?
Well, then you won't lose your keys.
I know. I'm like, what's wrong with that? Sounds pretty good.
But you don't have always, you don't have always felt about the end of the world.
Oh yeah. You're always like, if we all go together.
I just want to all go together. Yeah. Again, I feel the same way. If this thing is going to make us all lizards or weird or whatever, do you really want to be one of a few 100,000 that are left? That the lizards are coming after?
No.
Like, why do you want to be the one that's left that's healthy here?
Yeah, it'd be like one of those sci-fi movies where you have to hide from the lizard people.
So I'm just
like,
so just become a lizard with the rest of us.
Yeah.
No, but the other thing that I've noticed that can happen and I know, again, whatever you want to do is fine with me. I'm double vaxxed. I'm still doing my shows. I'm not afraid to be whatever. But I do want to say, I have a friend, and her daughter-in-law and son did not want to get vaccinated because they already had COVID, and they just were like, we don't want to. We already have the antibodies, whatever. But then a very, very fancy black tie wedding came up, and her daughter-in-law loves to go to a fabulous party. And they said, no, you absolutely have to be vaccinated because there's some professional athletes going to this thing. And so she's like, said to the daughter, you can't go unless did you get the notice. And the daughter's like, we get vaccinated tomorrow.
Just to go to the...
That was it. So
all their beliefs went out the window.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if there's someone in your life and you would like them to, maybe you just throw a really great event. If they're party people and they don't want to miss it.
Right.
And if you don't, please don't write me. I don't care. I really don't.
I'm with you.
I don't care, whatever, but we got it, and then whatever.
I thought there was not going to... I mean, the one thing that there was not going to be... You weren't going to get shamed for. I thought it would be the vaccination. You know, I get shamed for having a Samsung Galaxy. I get shamed... You know, there's a lot of, like, hierarchy and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this will be the one thing. Because there's 3 different types, you know?
Yeah.
And I went and got the Johnson & Johnson, not realizing it was, I guess, to some people, the poor people vaccine.
The bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know. I walked past the sign.
Dr. Drew got it too.
Yeah, and I went in and I got it. And now it's like, that's the poor people one. That's the one that doesn't protect against anything. I'm like, I don't know. I was just trying. Yeah, I went to a gymnasium in the valley, and I was done in an hour. But I don't know.
Yeah, we're all trying. I mean, we're just trying. Like, what do you want from us, people?
Are you concerned about monkeypox though? This is a new one. Have you seen monkeypox?
It looks very wart-like. And how do I avoid getting that?
I don't know, but there's one guy. He came from somewhere, and now he's in Texas.
Okay.
And he's filled with monkeypox.
Does it go away though?
I'm not all that familiar with it, but all I saw was the picture of this guy's hands, and they were just all bumpy and, you know.
That's like my worst. Like, I got a mosquito bite on my leg, and I'm like, I don't think I can go out because it was, like, inflamed. Yeah. So I would die if I got the monkeypox. Pox. I would die. This is another concern about the CDC. You posted this, and I thought it was brilliant. Mm-hmm. Don't leave your mark at the pool this summer. And it is a cartoon of a dad in a pool. I thought it was a mask, but I think it's a beard.
I think it's a beard too, but
it looks like a mask in a pool. And then his daughter's coming down a slide, and there's a big shit stain following her in her little bikini.
This is real. I didn't make this up.
I know. Yeah. This is so. Yeah, I'm all down for that too. Don't shit. I mean, that's been a classic. You know, don't get diarrhea in the pool.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't realize the CDC was going to go as far as to show the actual skid mark on the slide.
We once were at a public pool at my mother-in-law's like community center, and Peter was showing off that Drake could swim, and people were like impressed because he was so little. So he was just throwing him up in the air, you know, and then people were just like. And then he threw up, and it was like Labor Day, and they had to clear out the whole place. And then I heard people going, "Well, that dad is like throwing him up in the air, like
shaking up his inside."
It was never shit, but it was throw up just as gross.
That's just as bad, I think.
I would think. Yeah. Now, you sent this to me because you're concerned about a new summer trend.
Well, it's called the ugly sandal trend, and this is Kendall Jenner who just jumped on it. I guess this is last night or whatever, and she came out in the ugly sandal trend. So I figured I would get your opinion on
You showed me a couple other ones. Yeah. I'm not for ugly sandal trend at all. I don't understand about the slides either.
Like an Adidas slide.
Like the prison slides.
Yeah, prison slides.
Also, when people wear a slide with socks, I find that very dangerous.
And why?
Because it makes it extra slippery. So if you're going down the steps and your shoe like caught on something, you know, but I have these kind of like Ugg slides, and I was going to yoga or Pilates, and I had my socks on with my slides, and I completely biffed it to the point where I'm like, a little further, I could have like knocked out my teeth, and then I think of like, what would I do? How would I get my phone and call someone? And anyway, so that's kind of like an old lady fear because my biggest fear is to end up in a boot. Just one boot. That boot. Just screams. At my age, it just screams like, hey, old lady, why'd you drink so much with your girlfriends?
Yeah, nothing said.
Like you were an old lady that drank too fucking much than just one boot.
Right. Yeah, the boot is a sad. What's worse than the boot is the thing.
The scooter.
The knee scooter where they scoot around. Like if you get a boot, it's time. You got to stay in for 8 weeks or whatever it takes before the boot's off. But they're like, I have to go to Home Goods, so I'm going to scoot around on one knee.
But that does make more sense than doing crutches, right? right?
I know. Oh, the crutches.
Up your armpit, which I've never been on crutches
funny.
in my life.
I was just in New York.
Yeah.
And everyone's, people are asking me, like, is New York back? Is it back? Because, people are concerned it's never coming back. And I was like, no, everybody's on crutches. Like, the entire city is just, and one crutch, which is like, I don't know if there's a lot of people on one crutch just hobbling around. I'm like, what is going on here?
And you also told me there's a lot of men in dresses, a very fashionable look.
A lot of men in dresses. I saw a lot of men in dresses I guess depending upon what part of the city you were in, like Greenwich Village and down in the West Village, you got a lot of just men in dresses. Up in the
being men, identifying as men, but just going for a dress. Do you think that because it's like a hot human thing, and they realize after all this time they could have air up their balls?
I think so. I think it's Harry Styles kind of started it, and people are like, why not? I mean,
why not have some why not have a nice breeze up my crotch?
Yeah, so it's a lot of that.
Okay.
And then in like Midtown, it was just a lot of like, just like cut off shorts with big cocks. But half shirts.
Oh my God! Andy Cohen should go walk around there. That'll be fun for him. He likes to see big packages.
So anyway, that's Kendall Jenner. She's
horrible. Not a fan of anything ugly. Let's talk about the Olympics. Which the other day I was with Brandon, and he goes, "Do you think it's bad that we're not watching the Olympics?"
Me neither.
And I go, God, you know what? Am I a bad mom? Because he also missed the. Peter, what was the thing? The red moon, the red sun, some eclipse happened like a year ago.
Yeah.
And we just totally blew it off. And he was like, he was so mad. I'm like, I'm sorry. We'll do it next time. He's like, next time it's 100,000 years.
I know. And you always see it. Nothing photographs worse than the moon. Like anyone who ever touched take a picture of that thing, it always looks terrible.
So I go, you know what? We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it because I feel bad because I grew up in a house that was on 24/7.
It was fun to watch
every summer.
Yeah.
And I told him the story. The Olympics was here in 1984, where I grew up in LA, and we did go down to Ventura Boulevard, and they passed the torch all the way past Target, like right here in Ventura. They had like a torch running thing, and I saw it. And then we got a couple tickets, but then we had actually an Olympic team come to our house.
What do you mean?
I'm going to tell you in a second.
Oh.
Okay, so my dad had this cousin who stayed in Ireland, who's an Irish priest, and he called and said, like, this Irish reporter or somebody wants to come. Can he live at your house and report on the Olympics? And so this like 30-year-old guy came to our house, and he'd like write the stories and like fax it over to Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of crazy? And then we could only get tickets to like track and field, whatever.
Right.
But all of a sudden he's like, oh, my two friends who are the female, they were either from England or Ireland, but they were synchronized swimmers. And it was the first year of synchronized swimming in summer of 84. And he's like, do you mind if they come over? And they came to our house and they did a synchronized swimming act.
In the pool?
And they were the fourth winners. They didn't win a medal, but they came in fourth.
Wow.
And Brandon does not believe me.
That's kind
And he goes, I think you made this up. There's got to be pictures somewhere in like my parents' stuff. But I'm like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
They were these blonde girls and they were like doing the thing for us.
This sounds like an episode of Brady. You know how Brady Bunch always used to get like celebrities at the house, and they always had to do like a weird way to get them there. Like he's building a house for Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees. That sounds like a plot of the Brady Bunch.
I know you probably don't believe me, but I swear to God. And then Brandon goes, I don't believe that. I go, well, think about it this way. You're on the swim team or whatever. Mm-hmm. The Olympics are in Germany. You're done. You didn't do that well. You still have a week and a half left in Germany. And then someone says to you, do you want to go to this family's house in Germany that I know and hang out for the day? You'd be like, yeah. That's why it wasn't a big deal that these English girls came to my house.
Right.
Because it was like, we have a nice pool. It's like, oh, I'm in Southern California.
It is a little weird that you guys made them perform. No, it would be like,
I remember they didn't really want to.
Yeah, of course not. It'd
They're
be like
burnt
you go to
out.
someone's house and you're like, do some stand-up. You're like, I'm good.
They were like, we didn't, but they did like a little.
Yeah.
They did a little for us.
Right.
But we didn't have like video cameras or anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, we just were hoping to like lay by the pool. Like we just like wanted to have a Southern California day. And of course, they thought they were going to Beverly Hills. They're like, where's this? Like Woodland Hills, whatever. But our pool was always nice and big.
It was always,
even for a synchronized
different
swimmer.
Times that you were allowed to have just weird people stay at the house. Because we did too. Like my aunts would, they were
Yeah.
like very hippy dippy, and they were like, "This is a guy we picked up in a van on the way to Christmas," and I'm like, "Now he's at Christmas." Some weird guy. I'm not kidding. Every Christmas, it was like their civic duty to help somebody out.
Yes.
And we saw him hitchhike, and I'm like, "Yeah, he shouldn't be at Christmas," but there he was, eating ham.
Oh my God.
Crackhead at the kitchen table.
Yeah, it's just weird. And I remember during that time that everybody was so panicked that the traffic in LA would be so incredibly horrible that everybody left. Like everyone we knew left, and they're like, "We're going to Hawaii. We're going on our European vacation," and then they would rent it out to like their relatives because we didn't have Airbnb.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's coming back in 2028. And
in my neighborhood.
And I'm sure everyone's, what do you mean in your neighborhood?
They
It's not going to be at the Coliseum?
Well, they're doing it all over the city, but
Okay.
they're actually doing rowing competitions in Lake Balboa, which if you guys see Lake Balboa, they better do something to it.
That's the one thing that my cop connection said. He
Yeah.
goes, I go, when is the city going to be cleaned up? He goes, well, the good news is the Olympics is coming in 2028. So it'll have to be cleaned up by them like the way they did with Brazil. And I go, I have to wait till 2028?
Yeah, I know. That's the way because if you go to Lake Balboa now, it's like, there's a guy selling buttered corn on the cob on the side of the lake.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Simone. Okay, everyone's talking about Simone, and
Yeah.
the way I understand it is she did the vault, and you can see she kind of gets like, and how can you not get a little like vertigo twirling around, and she, had to do the step back thing, which is always like, oh, well, you're done today. You stepped back a half an inch, so now you're like out of maybe next 4 years.
It's over.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You can come back 4 years from now. Anyway, she basically just said, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to participate anymore, the way I'm understanding it. And they're like, did you hurt your ankle? And she's like, no, I'm not mentally
she
for
said she's
it.
not mentally in the right headspace to
do this.
to do her best. And
Right.
she thinks that she'll bring down the rest of the girls because she's not mentally right, which is now, like we were talking about before we came to air, it seems to be a new, and I guess it's the new thing. I'm not, the girl, the tennis player recently
Doesn't want to do the press.
Yeah,
so it gives her anxiety.
She said it too. I don't want to, I'm not mentally there.
But the thing with all that is that who doesn't get anxiety when they're talking to press?
Right.
But I think what these people, what this generation is realizing, just like stars or a Dave Chappelle that walked away from his big deal, or people that are just like, they get to a point where they're just like, I don't care. I'm going to do what's best for me.
Right.
And I don't care. And I think people are critical of her more than they would be if she was a singer or a performer, because they're like, you're part of a team and the Olympics is for America. It isn't just for you.
Yeah.
But when you think about all that she's been through and all the years, and she's done the Olympics before, and she's been on commercials, and
she went through that whole weird, all the
and she
things
went
with
through the
that
sexual
doctor
thing,
and all,
and she, being that she's black, that was like, she has all these other responsibilities almost to be this like first time hero in this field. And I just think she was just like, yeah, I'm out. And the rest of the team was just like, okay, like, we love you so much. What are we supposed to do? We're just going to do our best.
Yeah.
But then people are being critical, like, had she not put herself first, or her mental ability, in their opinion, maybe they could have won the gold. Who cares?
Right.
Like, who cares if they won the gold or not? I mean, I know some people really do care, but I'm like, I understand you have that medal. I've hung out with Caitlyn Jenner. I've seen the medal in person.
Yeah.
The medal is a big deal. People bring it out at parties. They frame it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's a different time. And I just think people are like, I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. I'm not critical at all of her. I think it's more of a sign of the times, and people doing what they feel is right for them, and also becoming such big stars in their own right.
Yeah.
That they're like, why would I risk doing poorly or getting into a worse mental position because these people want me to, because I don't want to. So I'm not going to.
Issues of I could be wrong on this. I think they also do many other competitions throughout the year.
Yeah.
And the Olympics is now become, in some ways, kind of the least of the important ones, because I think they make money on the other ones, and the World Championships, things like that. So sometimes I think the Olympics, they're like, why am I going to risk injury or whatever here when I have the World Championships coming up? The same thing happened with the girl who got for smoking weed. They
Yeah.
wouldn't let her run. She was like, "That's fine because I have the World Championships next month or whatever. Like, I don't care." I mean, I think I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing, but that's kind of what she said.
But I
like,
also just think, like, throughout history, like when we were, oh my God, Russia, and then, like, we've got to beat them. And like, there was like politically, it was a bigger deal, the
Right.
Olympics. And then also, I just think the way we watch TV, just like I said, our TV was on for 2 weeks during the Olympics.
yeah.
And our TV at home wasn't. Like, I literally had to turn it on. Oh, what channel is it on? 4. Let's watch a little.
Yeah. I know. And
So
then you
I
see
think it's just like, yeah.
you see it because it's in a different time zone or whatever. So you could see it on Twitter who won, and then that night because they're showing that event.
Right, and then
And
you
you
have
already
12
know-
people in the audience
Yeah,
because
you
they can't have.
they can't have anyone in the audience, so nobody's cheering on them.
And they lost. It's been postponed. I just think it's like so
Right.
a little bit anticlimactic.
In
Unfortunately,
some ways, I mean, I honestly, I'm like you. I have not been watching because I was told by you to watch Sex Life. And so
I will
last
say
night,
we're going to move to Sex Life, but I will say I do love watching gymnastics.
I love
mean,
watching
the way
it all.
they fly up there. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And then when they just literally step back a tiny bit,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Ooh, that's going to cost her." I'm like,
Right.
she just flew in the air,
Yeah.
like a superhero. Like, it's unbelievable
But
what
isn't
they
it
can do.
like it's all about body type? Like she has the body type of a gymnast. Like you, for instance, with your body type, you just couldn't do what she does because you don't have the. You know what I mean? You
No, but
could practice your entire life, and you're just not going to be what Simone Biles is because you just don't have the gymnastic type body.
Yes.
They got to be the
But
little.
the Russian girls were different types,
Right.
and they still were great. Like, they could still flip and twirl. They were still probably only 5'2".
Yeah.
And the other, they're 4'9" and more like athletically, built. But whatever.
The other thing I like
it's
about
amazing.
Simone Biles
Yeah.
is she has regular voice. She doesn't have little gymnast voice. Remember that one girl, Carrie Shrug, when she. And all of a sudden, that was great that she did it.
Yeah.
Landed that one jump and they won the gold and whatever. But then she started talking like, "What is happening? What is this? What are we on?
You know what I love?
Yellow Brick Road."
I also love about them is that they really love each other as a team.
Yeah.
And then they were really, and their coach was like, seemed like a normal woman, like not a molester.
Right.
And then and she was like really loud cheering for them. And that felt normal, like to hear like a coach like, "You did great,"
Yeah.
and then like they all hugged each other, and then they congratulated the Russians.
Right.
And I thought that part was something that I remember always feeling it was meaner and more competition, and even though they're on a team, it felt like there's competition between girls and this felt like it was really
Right.
like everyone loves each other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for her. I'm all for just I don't know, quitting's the wrong word, but
Yeah.
just using your mental state to get out of stuff. Because if that's what we're gonna do now, I don't know if I'll ever go to a party ever again. You know what I mean? No, I'm not right mentally.
No, yeah,
like,
I'm
that's
not.
a good way
I'm
to
not,
get out of stuff.
or to just all of a sudden realize, oh my God, this is stressing me out.
Yeah,
I need to cancel.
Like we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like things are like, oh, I'm stressed out by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you can just go, no, why? I just was not right mentally. I mean, if you said that a few
Yeah.
years ago, people were like, you just get your shit straight. you
Yeah,
know?
you got to show up.
Right.
You got to come to work.
Yeah.
You got to do whatever. Yeah.
But now it's all about mental health. I mean, what's the difference between if her knee was hurt or her mind? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
that's what they're saying.
yeah.
So they're saying it should be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your brain should be treated just like,
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, moving on. So you watch Sex Life. Where's my Sex Life? Oh, wait, one more thing. So the Pink is offered to pay the fines for the Norwegian athletes fined for wearing shorts instead of bikini bottoms in the volleyball competition. So they just were like, we don't want to wear these bikini bottoms. We're just going to wear like these booty shorts.
Yeah, I
And
know.
that was a big deal. I'm like, everyone should they all should just decide on an outfit and wear it together. If the girls want to wear, like the guys stopped wearing Speedo suits and they wear the long shorts.
Yeah.
Some of them do.
Right.
And then the girls, and then you can also wear like a whole long like Spanx bodysuit.
Yeah.
Skims should start making Olympic wear. Anyway,
It's very strange. It's very strange that this even like in this day and age, fining people for not wearing bikini bottoms. It seems very strange.
Yeah.
It's like no, I mean, I don't know.
they still looked sexy and good. Yeah, I would,
Yeah.
and I do think it would be harder to be falling in the sand and hope not to get a wedgie or like have a part of your vag pop out. I mean,
right.
But it is nice to look at those perfect bodies at the same time.
But it's still, you can still see it all in those other shorts.
But that's the whole point. Like, why on these two competitions where, because there was another gymnastic team that actually were not wearing the high cut leotards.
Yeah.
They chose to wear like a short type of look.
Right. Well, thank God for Pink.
She's the best.
She was there to handle it.
Wait, I'm going to find, where's my sex life here? Okay. So let's talk about sex life. This was a show I talked about with Justin Martindale on Netflix. I did finish it.
Yeah, you told me to watch the second half.
Okay, just so we could discuss and just ask me any questions. This is about a woman. It's a scripted show. She has a perfect life with her husband and like 4-year-old devil child.
2 kids.
Yes, one is clearly possessed, and then the other one is a little girl, little baby. And she's bored being a rich housewife. And she starts to remember her old boyfriend who had an enormous penis, who she fucked all the time. And she doesn't know if she can continue with her life as she knows it.
I have a few critiques of the
Please
show.
go.
I was actually enjoying it. You know, like I always say.
How can you not?
I like watching good-looking people on TV. That's what it's supposed. I know these days good-looking people are
cannot get a job.
Yeah, they are out. They're out. Victoria's Secret angels have been fired. Swimsuit models on.
I mean,
Sports
literally
Illustrated.
models. Literally,
they're all fired.
Like you know, it's just like it used to be. Like, oh, you couldn't. You know,
tables
you'll
have
never be a
turned.
model.
Yeah.
No. If you're pretty, you're not going to be able to be a model.
Now the kids are going to come home from school. Why were you bullied? Because of my long legs and my perfect lips. They're like, what a loser. Welcome to my world.
Okay, go on.
But anyway, now what? This is going to be a strange critique. But you know what was bothering me about it?
Please do.
And I think sometimes it happens when they rush production and things. And I think there was a little of that in this
of course.
production.
It's a Canadian situation.
Bad extras acting. There was terrible extras acting in this, like some of the worst I've ever seen, and I could not stop watching.
So, like when they're at like the restaurant,
everyone's overdoing it in the background.
So let's just pretend like
right.
Now you're supposed to be like doing. I've been an extra, so you're supposed to do this stuff, and then you know you're whispering, but you're supposed to be like talking too. So you know you just be like, this would be a normal thing, like, oh hey. But that's the bad acting. That's the bad acting.
That every one
just
of them
really big moves and like laughing and
and people in the background like smoking like
probably because it was filmed in Canada and these people are like, I need to stand out.
Right.
And an extra in LA knows the gig.
They've been doing it forever. It's
they bring their own lunch.
Right.
They bring their Tupperware to pack their food for the next week from the craft services.
Time. Did you ever do it?
They always bring their chairs.
Did you ever do it?
I did it twice. I was on 90210 on the beach, and I was in Wayne's World too.
I was supposed to do Wayne's World too.
We could have met and fell in love and had a 40-year-old child now.
I went. They said Aerosmith was going to play or something. It was like a concert scene.
Wait. They called me to go do the concert scene after I did the diner scene.
Right.
And I just said, I'm out.
Me too.
I don't want to. It was
I drove all the way down there. It was like LA Coliseum or something.
Yes, it was in some weird place, and Central Casting called me. I remember it paid like $60 a day or something. And I just said, you know, and that's when I looked into buying in my way into SAG.
Yeah.
I said, there's got to be an illegal way to get a SAG card. That's what did it, because I didn't want to go to the Wayne's World 2 concert and do another day of.
With the weird people with their chairs.
Yes,
and
with
they've been doing it forever.
and then taking their Tupperware and just stealing so much food.
Right.
Like they would go get their craft service plate, something that kind of lasts, that doesn't have to refrigerate, like a big thing of pasta. And then I saw them taking their Tupperware out, and then they pour it in and cover the Tupperware and put it in their bag.
Yeah.
And they always had books. A lot of them knitted. Mm-hmm. And on a chair.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I looked at it for 2 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm out. I got it. And it was going to be like a long day. It'll be a 17-hour day or something. You know, like, no, but I just drove away.
I'm sure there's a podcast about extras.
But anyway, it's terrible acting, extra acting in
what
this.
What else about it? Who did you want her to end up with? What do you think she should do?
Well, I'm not quite finished, but I'm actually was enjoying it, so now I'm going to watch more.
Okay.
But listen, I don't want to sound like some old curmudgeon, and I know I heard you with Josh saying that, you know, you used to say bread and butter boner and all that.
So they go to a sex party. I'm not ruining it for you. Their neighbors take them to a sex party.
Right.
And their neighbors clearly are regulars at the sex party. Okay,
yes.
so that's what we're talking about that episode, yeah.
Right. So
A
they go to
swingers
this
thing,
some sort of swinger party.
Yeah.
And I mean, the extra acting in that swinger party is as bad as I've ever seen. They're really over the top. But
Imagine if it have to be a naked extra.
I know. And they're older people, too, which I think at least they nailed that. Like, because you go to a swinger party, it's not who you want to be at a swinger party. It's
Well,
I
interviewed this swinger, and she said there are swingers that are like elite, like the Rhea of swinging, where like you have to send in a photo, you have to be hot,
right?
You got to be like a certain kind of
But you know, there's a
socioeconomical
few
level.
that squeak through even at those.
Probably,
and they're
but
probably
yeah.
the most enthusiastic about doing it because they're
Yeah.
like, I'll fucking
Yeah.
get this. But I don't know. That is so. As I'm watching that scene, it's so not my thing at all. Not to sound like a weird prude or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like no. And then the other thing was the actress, who's very good, and you know, not to give anything away, but he gets a blowjob from the neighbor or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like bawling, crying. And there's like a bunch of weird people watching it. And I'm like,
yeah, they're walking around like I felt like it was a Manson house or
I
something.
know,
Like, yeah.
But, and then I'm like, well, she's kind of ruining the buzz for everybody. Like, I'm going to try and have an orgy here. And some woman crying in the corner.
Like, that's the whole thing. Like, there's rules. Like, if you're going to cry or freak out, like the whole thing is be super into your spouse, be totally engaged with your spouse, but then you both want to come here.
Have you ever been, has anyone ever asked you to be part of a swinger lifestyle?
Unfortunately, absolutely not.
Really?
Yes. I think it's because no one wants to get with Peter.
Even on the road, like, because I think a lot of comedians have.
I know you have
a
a story.
Well, I have a weird story in Dallas that was like it was a good looking couple.
Okay, let's hold.
Okay.
All right, tell me your story in Dallas.
It was you've met these people. I don't want to go too far into it, but they were like weird Chelsea lady fans, which is odd enough because he was like an older man.
Yeah.
I think he had played for the Cowboys at some time, not like a star. He was
Yeah.
there for 6 months. Anyway, and he was like a Chelsea lady fanatic, and he was a 58-year-old man, which I was like, that's a red flag right there. Something's odd in him. And then they came to my show, and they were really into it. Into it.
Okay.
So I was already like, what's this about? And then
you don't trust someone that's that big of a fan of yours?
Totally. Like, I'm always like, all right, I can relax. I mean, it was good. It wasn't that good. So,
yeah.
Anyway, and you know the club there. It's on the outskirts of Dallas a little bit.
Yes. Highness.
No.
Was it Highness?
The Improv. It's on
the Improv. Addison.
Yeah, Addison.
Yeah.
So you got to drive for a half hour to get into like Dallas proper.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were like, come with us into Dallas. We know all the people who are connected in Dallas with clubs. And they were. So I get into like that truck with them, which is it's one of those, it's a pickup truck with a flat, where I got to sit in the bed with the three of them up front, which is strange enough, So I was like, oh boy, here we go.
So she's in the middle.
Yeah, she's in the middle.
Okay.
I'm on the end. And we drive to some club and they whisk right in. And we were hanging out. And I was like, I started to see it developing. Like, he was like, what do you think of my wife? I'm like, she's great. And she was fine. And then it started to be like, have another drink. And I was like, oh. So I left. I got to go to the bathroom.
And you disappeared.
And I went out into the club.
Was this the first time that you felt like a woman?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
I could totally feel like a creepy vibe.
And you're like, I'm about to get roofied.
Yes.
Except they wouldn't want to roofie you because they need your dick to be hard.
I know.
So you can't get roofied.
And the other thing is, and maybe I'm sure there are people who are familiar with this lifestyle who listen to this podcast. I just don't know if it's like, hey, watch me. I want to watch you fuck my wife, which is one thing. That's fine. But then again, if that's happening, then all of a sudden now is there a dick in my face. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Right. There's different bases.
Right.
First base is of that is I'm just going to watch. Second is I'm going to also masturbate while I watch.
Right.
Third is now I'd like to be part of the sculpture of boating.
Yeah.
And like maybe the dick's in her mouth and you're in, and then the next level is you and I are going to do stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's
so
what I
you
figured.
escape to the bathroom. Do you have to go out a window?
No, like I just very close enough, but I like snuck out the club, and then I'm walking up the street. Now I'm far away from the hotel. It's a 40-minute ride or whatever.
Teen runaway scene. This is straight out of an after-school special.
So I'm walking down the street, and they pull up. I swear to
my God.
Like, where are you going? And I made I never came up with a lie so quickly that they were like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, you didn't come back. And I'm like, my friend called me, and I'm going to meet him in another bar. And they were like, well, come. And I was like, no, what I came up with, like, he's weird about people. I mean, they would not fucking leave.
No, did you have another show the following night? Were you scared they'd show up, or were you going home?
I think I was going home. I think it was a Saturday night show.
Thank
so
God.
yeah, so I was out of there. But
did you go in your place and take a shower and then slowly slide down the wall and then hold your knees in fetal position?
Yeah.
Did you?
I mean, I really did feel like it was a creepy vibe. And I not to say that this, if people are into it, go, enjoy your life, but it's just not my thing at all. Anyway, I got
through it, and
now don't say how it ends, but
no. Well, there's a second season, so it doesn't really end.
Okay.
It's like a cliffhanger.
The other one that I thought was there's a lot of people like there's a lot of sex in it, and there was a lot of sex in it, but it's basically all the same shots, kind of, he's
and flashbacks,
a lot of flashbacks, which I had a tough time keeping up on the flashbacks.
Me too. I was like, where are we now?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
But there was a scene with the chocolate syrup. And that's one of those ones that in movies is a great idea, and in reality, and I'm watching it. I don't know if it's my my obsessive compulsive disorder.
You're very neat.
I'm just like, oh, this is driving me insane. She's gonna roll over on the sheets, and then that chocolate syrup's all over the fucking bed. Like,
also it's like, why are you having sex on a cold marble island when you have a perfectly soft, fabulous bed?
Yeah.
That you can go to.
Right.
Like, I guess.
And honestly, eating that much chocolate syrup is just like, what am I, an animal? Like, if I sat there and took the bottle of chocolate syrup and just squirted it into my mouth, people are like, that's bizarre.
And
But if I lick it off your back, it's any different?
I mean, is it like, do you go get like the Hershey's that you'd give for your kids, or do you go try to order like a Godiva, like a sexier kind of chocolate?
Peter's just putting Nestle's Quick on your back. Yeah, I mean, it is.
Oh my God.
It's all fun in the movies, but you got to think of the reality of all. Like this guy, the real handsome guy, who honestly I think.
I was just thinking, like you're doing like a melted marshmallow thing, and then like get stuck in some pube. Like, Jesus Christ. I
remember one time I don't know, back when I was trying to be romantic, it had some like warming liquid or something, and it just like stuck to everything. And I'm like, getting up to go to the bathroom, the sheets are stuck to me. I'm like, fuck this! I ruined it. Got lint on my balls.
Oh God. Okay, but then all I just want to say is, so she does fantasize about what her life would be like for the boyfriend who's Australian, which is required for every hot guy to have an Australian accent.
But then he goes to visit his father, and he's in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I'm like, wait, is he not supposed to be Australian?
I don't know.
Are they just ignoring his accent? I thought that was odd.
The whole thing was odd, and that he would be that wealthy, but with a record label. I'm like, do you realize what year we're in? Owning a record label is not going to make you that rich.
Yeah.
And does anyone need a record label anymore? Anyway, but the last thing I was going to say is that, I'm like, do you really think this guy that's like this has a horrible relationship with his dad, disappears, has a huge schlong, screwed your best friend?
Yeah.
You think he's going to be down for hanging out with your 4-year-old and your 7-month-old?
Yeah.
Like, you think he's not going to be bothered that the babies are crying and that you're not hot and you're not down to like bend over every second?
Yeah.
When you're like, what are you thinking? This would never work out.
I know. And the other thing that I had an issue with, and it happens in a lot of shows as well, bad acting child. That child was the worst. And I know it's tough to critique a 3-year-old, but the kid was terrible.
I think the kid must have been like somebody's child on the production.
Right.
Or something that was higher up that got their kid to be in it. Mommy, why are you crying? Are you going to go to my play?
I know. I was like, can we cut? This kid's terrible. You're fired.
Wait, just give me a couple lines. I'm the kid.
Mommy's not coming home tonight, so we're going to have dinner together.
Why Mommy not coming home?
Mommy's in New York City. She's taking a late meeting.
Are you going to hug me?
Yes, I'm going to hug you because...
And the other thing is, every time the kid would come up, she'd start to cry.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, Daddy's just doing a little bit of late work. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
No,
it's okay. Now you be the kid, and I'm going to be her, okay?
Why are you crying, Mommy?
Oh, Mommy's not crying. These are happy tears. Happy tears because we're a happy family. Did you finish doing your color cutting?
Yes, I drew a picture of you and you're
Oh,
crying.
that's so good.
And the funny thing is, I have a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
and she picks up on everything. Like, if I was bawling at the house, she'd be like, why are you crying? You know, like, this kid does not ask at all why she's crying every 5 minutes.
Moving on.
Can I hold one
Yes.
more? First, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I know you're...
No, go.
I feel like he looks like a handsome T.J. Miller, the Australian.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple of shots from him, like, he's not
No,
that great.
that's what I said. I said to Justin, I go, his face got uglier as time went
That's
on.
the way I
Like
felt.
his nose got a little longer.
Yeah.
I got like when he first is like approaching her when when he has a swimming pool that's heated in New York City on its
Yeah.
own terrace.
Well, he's a record producer.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the highlights, and I was like, yeah, he's real handsome and a big dick and everything, but there's sometime in his life where he's sitting in a salon chair with foil in his hair. Like, let's show that scene. Enough with the chocolate syrup and the big cock. Let's see the foil in his hair, because it happens.
He had to get there though. Natural highlights from New York City.
Yeah.
Okay. Paris Hilton, big news yesterday, page 6 says she's pregnant. Then her sister said no, she's not. I don't know if she is or not, but her Netflix show also dropped. I mean, I hope she's pregnant. Whatever. She's 40 years old.
I was gonna say, like, isn't it time? Like, either it is or it's
She's
time.
got her own. She's got a show on Peacock that's going to follow her wedding. She has a Netflix show where she's cooking with friends.
Yeah.
I mean, she's back. Good for her. Thank God she got kidnapped from that Utah school because that kind of put her back on the map.
Yeah. What? But
That
was when she was a
YouTube
kid, right?
documentary kind of made people go, "Oh, I'm sort of intrigued about her again, and I think I'd like to see her on TV
Because she went
again."
to like some dude ranch in
She went to one of those
Utah.
schools where
They were mean to her.
Yeah, where they
Yeah.
kidnap you in the middle of the night and then they sleep deprive you and you can't eat and you can't call your parents. And then the parents are told if you don't send your kid to this weird school, they're going to be like a drug addict hooker.
Yeah.
So, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked
well,
out. Moving on. Lindsay Lohan, I just noticed that she, in one photo, she was talking about skincare and she not had one freckle because of the filters. But then the freckles were back. What's happening with her?
What became of Lindsay Lohan? Like, is she still in Dubai? Wasn't she just in Dubai?
She was in Dubai. She
dancing
had her
for
place. She had her
sultans?
day club in
But that was a
Mykonos.
TV show. That was why it got canceled was beyond me because it was fascinating.
Then she was doing plays. I know. I hung out with her in the Hamptons, and
Really?
yes, at Jill Zarin's. That's when she was doing a play and dating her director who had children. That was like 5 years ago. I don't know what she's doing. But at one time, that same person that put Britney in the conservatorship supposedly was talking to Dina, her mom.
Oh, to try and
And
get
it was
Lindsay?
Michael who said no way.
Oh.
Because the
all right.
parents both would have to be signed on about it. Get
Yeah.
her in the conservatorship and make her work, and they would take all the money.
Okay.
But I think she's fine. I don't know if she still speaks with an accent. That was so crazy.
There was some crazy times. I mean, she went through some, but this is
She was the first Hilaria.
She was.
Oh my God,
Well, Madonna did it.
she
too.
picked up the English, but she wasn't.
Yeah.
But that was just an English accent.
Right.
Like Lindsay was doing the how do you say, and
Yeah.
she couldn't remember American words, and she tried to rescue those children from their parents.
Yeah.
Remember that video? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, she just grabbed the kid off the street
Yeah,
and
and she's
was
like, listen to me. I'm going to help you, and they're like,
Yeah.
how do you say it? And they're like, this is our mom. What are you doing? And then she's like filming it. She's like, these children are being sex trafficked. And they're like with their parents. Anyway.
It's one of those things, and we see them. I mean, it's just getting into show business too young. It's just it's so funny people still do it because it's like 99.9% fail rate on it. And you can just look at Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato and her, and they're just not. You know what I mean? Everyone's a little off.
20 years from now, there's going to be a show, and the little kid from Sex Life is going to be interviewed. And they're going to flash back to our show, and they're going to say, I mean, even what were these two full-grown adults talking about this
Making
4-year-old's
fun of-
horrible child, this horrible actor that there's only 4 whose mother had to be in this show where
Right.
everyone's talking about the size of someone's dick on it and his bad acting.
Yeah.
Like, what did he...
And we're the ones who put him over the
Yeah.
edge. That's why he's now in a
Yeah.
drug rehab or something.
Or
The interviews from
owning a nightclub, day club
Right.
in Mykonos.
In
So you could do
Mykonos.
either or.
I love that the people on that Lindsay Lohan show where she like ran the club. You know, they all actually had to really run a club.
Yeah,
People were like,
yeah.
Did you schedule a bartender? She's like, wait, I thought this was just a TV show. Like, no, like, yeah, we had to run the fucking place.
I so don't want to be part of a TV show where there's actually real work involved.
I know.
Like, I don't want to run a
Especially at restaurants,
restaurant
like,
or
that's a
be
tough
on a
job.
yacht where every day you're like doing the laundry like I'm below deck and stuff. Like, Jesus.
No. Yeah, can't we
God.
just lie around like like Real Housewives?
Like the Kardashians,
Yeah,
just shake the salad and look at my
talk
phone.
on your phone. Yeah.
God.
Drive around in a Range Rover every now and again.
And then have someone go, we're going to have someone come over and teach us how to do face yoga. All right.
I mean,
I always imagine like the day before, like the Kardashians get like a text or whatever. So tomorrow we're coming, hair and makeup's at 10. At 12, we have the face yoga lady coming. We're going to just act like you're doing face yoga for a year and a half, for an hour and a half, but we can like cut it to about, we're going to make her leave in about 15 minutes. And then you guys will have your salads. And then bring up what you want to do for Chloe's birthday. And then, we'll try to be out by like 4:30.
Yeah.
All right.
At least they stopped doing the fake storylines. In the early days, it was like, Bruce got a chicken as a pet, remember? And he would chase that around. And then we found a homeless guy behind Dash. Let's cut his whiskers off. Give
The
him a
homeless
clean
guy
shirt.
came back this season.
Did he? No.
Yes, they found him.
Found him. He's one of the producers. They didn't have to go far to find him. It was all fake.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Shorty came back.
Yeah.
Okay, who cares? Let's move
Anyway.
on. All right, I have other stuff. I realized I had this in my messengers from like my personal account on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
His name's Hidayah Tuladi. No photo.
Yeah.
But he has been writing me for a couple months now. And this is some of the things. Kiss me. I'm getting you on my dream in a good way. Will you make out with me? I'd like to watch you. I'd like to spend the night with you. Kiss me. I'm getting ready to kiss you. Then little photos of people kissing. Kiss my cock. That was at June 25th.
Whoa, he jumped from that one. That was a big
Let's
jump.
do
from
let's doing stepmom role on pornography.
Oh.
So he's young. So he sees that I'm older. Okay. Really titties are cool, and then lots of lips.
Yeah.
And then fuck your titties, give me a blowjob. Then I don't know what this is. I don't know if these two people, I guess two people kissing. And then the final one is just sending you I love you. And then finally, I'm 23-year-old young boy, and I would like to say all these loves you. So what I think is I have been put on some list of old white lady that might be horny for a young foreign person.
You think this is that type of list?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some algorithm that they know what my age is, that I have a little bit of money, and that I'm white, and that I might be lonely.
Yeah.
They're watching 90 Day Fiance, and they're like, there's women like this all over.
Oh, that's
It's just
a good
like
point.
throw the net out and see who picks up. Then I got this one too. His name's David Hockey.
Oh, that's an American guy.
And his face looks okay. All right. Nice cleavage. Can you tell me more about yourself? A couple days later. And then, are you available to chat? So I was. And
Wait, no. Hi, David. It's Heather.
so anyway, I clicked on it.
Yeah.
No photos, no videos, which tells me again that it's some young Nigerian guy
trying to get
who's
money.
now just like picked a white, like age appropriate guy's photo
Yeah, it's like
to
just-
get me to go, oh, someone that I could actually date if I was single.
Right.
David Hockey is hitting on me. Let me go see what's up. And then I would start talking to somebody that's not this guy's photo. And he's not great looking, but it's a realistic person.
That is,
It's a realistic
I
guy that would
buy
hit on
this
me.
one, yeah.
That he would actually hit on me. We actually might get along. Like he's got, a little goatee, but he looks about, 50, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Right. He looks like he's at some sort of Hooters or something.
Yeah.
He's a good time guy. He's fine.
And I look like, I'm just some average, because this is my average mom's one.
Oh, that's your regular Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that, I barely go on.
He thinks you're approachable. Like
Yes, he thinks I'm some sad mom.
Yeah.
Kids almost out. Very few photos of my husband ever featured.
Right. Wow.
And he's just probably like, okay, yeah. But it's really a foreign, like, Nigerian kid that's writing me, who I'm going to then send money to David Hockey, who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
This billionaire, oh, this is kind of interesting. Princess Diana's. Wait, I want to go back to this. Hold on one second. I want to go back to these other ones that I want to talk about. Let's talk about a little bit. Oh, let's talk about Britney for a minute. So Britney, I know you follow her on Instagram.
I do.
A
lot of topless lately.
I cover this a lot, trying to decipher what this Instagram is about. I do have sources that give me solid info.
Right.
And we know that she has CrowdSurf that does her Instagram. So it's very confusing what she does and what they do.
Oh, because that's why you see the same picture. It comes down, then it's back up, then it comes down, then it's back up.
Yes, exactly. And then, but then there's things that are like, that's weird. And so this one was very disturbing. This one was a photo of just like little girl panties that you'd put under like a tutu dress. And it said, girls just want to have fun. And some people were like, this is weird and this is disturbing. Like this kind of pedophile-ish.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, no, she just wants a little girl. It's my belief that this was CrowdSurf. But she
what
can't.
Is CrowdSurf is somebody who
is the people that do her Instagram. Yeah. But she doesn't have the power to remove it. And she doesn't have the power yet to fire them.
Right.
She is working. I mean, she is firing people and getting rid of people and but right now she still doesn't have that. Because I'm like, why can't she just at this point go, hey guys, good. I got Sam, the boyfriend. He told me how to post, but they're getting paid. So they have to post so many times per their contract.
Right.
So she gives them the content and then they post it, but then they also post their own stuff and they also can take it, change everything. So then, so she did the titty one.
Yeah, two different ones.
But then I guess one of the titty ones was too much nip, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why they were taking it down and putting it up and taking it down because they had to add the star. Because they did it 3 times and the stars were littler on the nips before. And then it came back with bigger stars, meaning that Instagram said it was too sexy.
Good.
And then, but even if she
David Hockey wrote her and said nice cleavage because it is. It does have nice cleavage.
I know. How many is she getting from David Hockey? Then she did a video where she does these videos where they speed up. And I was thinking, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to film something for an hour and then spit it up and make it like 2 minutes.
I know.
Like where people are cooking or doing their hair and makeup or getting ready. And I said, I'm really impressed that she knows how to do that. I don't think she does know how to do that. They do the speed up.
I think she just gives them the video and they time lapse it.
But she went to Michael's in Westlake Village or Thousand Oaks.
She did shout out Michael's.
And how could I could have been at Michael's.
I know.
That could have happened. Could someone please call in? Call in. I don't have a call in. Email me. Send me a DM on Instagram. If you were at Michael's, if you worked at Michael's, did anybody recognize that it was her buying the paint?
She bought a giant piece of paper too. Like that's a 15-foot piece of paper. So
she got the paper from somewhere else.
She said she just
and she got the paints from Michael's.
Okay, got it.
And and then really juicy, Sam it's Luftfee, your friend.
Lufty, Sam Lufty.
Yes.
Yeah, good buddy.
I did get confirmation, pretty much that he's gay. I mean, I hope he's out.
So he is gay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, of course, was with her right before the conservatorship.
Yeah.
I have been writing him. I have a friend who texted me a photo of the two of them together. I'm saying, come on, Juicy Scoop.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
He has not said he would.
Right.
However, he posted very juicy stuff today on his Twitter and Instagram. And it was voicemails. These top 4 ones are voicemails of Britney supposedly from 2009, leaving messages for people saying, I've been basically kidnapped. They're keeping me from my children. I want someone to explore this conservatorship. This is Britney Spears. Please help me. I called you before. I left a message. I don't know if these were in his phone this whole time. I don't know if he gave her this information to write and then I don't know what it is, but it definitely is her voice and definitely sounds just like her.
Yeah.
And that she was pleading, saying this wasn't right back in 2009.
So where does it stand now? They're
cleaning house. It's coming. They have the filing to hopefully have this other guy replace the dad. But the court date's not till December, whatever. She is able to drive. She's able to paint. She still has the Instagram people posting for her.
Yeah.
Oh, her sister, Jamie Lynn, who's a big problem, a video just came out of her, like doing some interview, maybe like a year or so ago, just some small like YouTube or local TV station interview. And the girl has a Southern accent, so it's probably some there in the South. And she's like, so Jamie, what was your like relationship like with Britney? And she goes, well, I was always like her little doll, her little sister, like I was her first baby, but, then that changed. And they're like, what's it like now? And she goes, well, now I crack the whip.
Oh.
She goes, now I'm more the older sister who cracks the whip. I crack the whip on the whole family, which kind of makes you go, well, now we know that the sister was part of the conservatorship and she was very comfortable saying that. It's just a fun mystery, really. But yeah, that's basically what I think is going on there. But I wrote Sam again. Please come on Juicy Scoop. Explain these voicemails.
So they find now. So a new person will take over the conservatorship and look over it and say whether it's right or wrong, and then get her out of it.
No, she'll still have some type of a conservatorship, but under a new person, it would be exactly what I've said it was. This guy is an attorney. And he is a CPA.
Yeah.
So it's just really would be more someone handling like her finances and stuff.
But the father would still be involved.
No, she wants the father out for sure. Because the father's the one who like hired the security and all this stuff. And the security is like the same type of people, I believe, that, were the Israeli security people that Weinstein would get people off of. Like it's all like very CIA kind of security.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion based on things I've looked at. And so she's getting rid of that. And so I just think she, wants more of a freedom of a life. And so we'll see what happens. And but the thing is, once she's free, she's going to be able to make like $100 million in a week.
Doing like just
whatever. Put
painting.
her on air, put it on any topic.
Like honestly, I looked at that painting and I was like, well, she could sell that painting. I mean, it's not good. She's just spreading paint around, but she could probably sell it for $100,000. Like put that on.
She could do a post and say, "I like this skincare," and make a couple $100,000 for one post. So okay, okay, we know what's going on with J.Lo and Ben. Apparently, they had an awkward moment. They both are in Saint-Tropez. They both went on we're going to go to a restaurant, and the assistant went to just make sure everything's okay. Hi, I'm the assistant for J.Lo. And J.Lo and Ben are going to have, so this is their table. And then saw A-Rod over there. And she's like, yeah, we're cutting out. We're canceling the reservation.
If you're like both high-end people like this, don't you have to have some, because Saint-Tropez is not someplace everybody goes.
Yeah.
But there should be some sort of, before they travel, like I'm going to go, are you going to go there?
Well, they've been broken up for a while. Why does she have to check with him?
I'm saying not them, but like that somebody in their camp should be like.
I think that's why she showed up and realized that he was actually there, because somebody that's like, oh, do you want a table for two? They don't know. Oh, Mr. A-Rod, baseball player, weren't they fucking a year ago? Like, no, that person doesn't know.
Right.
So then there was another video of them walking around Saint-Tropez, and Ben Affleck is just smoking.
Like blowing it right in her face.
Right in her face.
I know, I saw that video.
And I'm like, J.Lo needs to sing and dance. She has one glass of champagne a year. When does she put her foot down about the smoking? I dated a couple smokers that were hot, and I never said anything.
But I can't believe it's just so strange to see people smoking now. I don't know, for whatever reason. But seeing that video of Ben Affleck smoking and blowing her face, I was like, is this an old video? Because it's just bizarre to see somebody smoking cigarettes.
Well, I talked about it recently. I think cigarettes are going to make a comeback.
Oh, really?
Just like real books are.
Oh, okay. And albums?
Yeah.
People buying vinyl albums. Wow. Now, what about A-Rod? Is he dating anyone?
You know how like a lot of rich people like 10 years ago started having like more than 3 children? To show that they're so rich they can have multiple children.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think it's going to be like that with cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so rich, I don't have to just vape.
Okay.
I can actually afford a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I'm going old school cigarette. And I'm not going to just vape. Anyway, what were your question, sir?
What about A-Rod? Did he have a girl with him in Saint-Tropez? Who does he travel with now?
He's with some blonde girl that's like, oh, God. I don't know what her connection is. She's some hot blonde girl. She's on the boat. She's wearing a nice black one piece. She's rolling around. I love paparazzi photos from yachts. Remember when that's
greatest.
then remember when we saw Princess Diana with her guy, rest in peace, the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of where we knew that they were like on it.
Yeah.
And just flopping around and just like I want to go
jumping into the water.
That's my goal for next year.
Get a shot of you on a yacht.
I want to go. I mean, everybody is like in the Amalfi Coast and Saint-Tropez. It's like, why am I not there? I should be there. I should be there. What am I going to wait for? If I wait any longer, I'm not going to look good jumping off the boat. I don't look that good now.
Have you ever been to the Amalfi Coast? Where's it?
No.
Is that in Italy?
Yes.
It's in Italy.
It was where Cars 2 was filmed.
Oh, okay, good.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
But that's where I fell in love with it. And I've been asking to go ever since.
What is your ultimate feeling on J.Lo and Ben Affleck? Like, is there a part of you that's like, you just get your lives together? What are we doing here? Like,
I think they're fucking and having fun, but I don't think it's gonna last.
Right.
Because I think she's having a lot of fun with it. I think it's the ultimate rebound. Her body's better than it was. Imagine like going to your old boyfriend of 20 years and being like, my body's better than you remember it. Right. And I'm even like better in the sack now. So let's get it on.
Didn't she just turn 52?
Yes.
But eventually 52 becomes 52. You know what I mean? There's just no way around
Well, I
it.
think
You
the
can work
52
out all
of
you
her,
want.
no, I think she could still look great, but I think the 52 in her will be like, eventually she's going to be like, enough with the cigarettes, dude. Right. Like, right now she's being all nice and tolerant. You think she's going to be tolerant in 3 years? No way.
Yeah.
You think she's going to let him smoke around her kids?
Like, look at A-Rod. Like, the age, A-Rod is becoming, he's just like a thicker guy than he was. Now he looks like he's got too much sodium.
And he's only 45.
Too much sodium in his diet or something. Like that guy.
Yeah. Well, good thing he has that makeup. He can contour his cheeks, hollow them out.
Yeah, I know.
Narrow the nose.
That weird makeup.
Do the jaw. Yeah.
I mean, what is he thinking? But I don't know. It's all fascinating. And I heard you talking about it with Josh a little bit. Just the kids. Do you just go, A-Rod's now gone? The one guy you hung around for 3 years, and I guess there had to be some relationship there with the kids. We love A-Rod.
Totally. They hung out with their kids. Yeah. There were like videos and like family goals, and they'd all be out together during quarantine. Yeah. And she like got along with the daughter and all this stuff J.Lo did, like his daughter. And yeah, that's it.
So what happens now? Can they still text J.Lo? Like,
I mean, they probably don't. Kids in this generation don't keep in touch anyway with their friends. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's just over. Okay. I mean, what do you think they ask about Casper?
Oh, that's right. He was a dancer. Didn't he manage a restaurant in Pasadena? Didn't they have a restaurant in Pasadena?
No, that was her first husband.
Oh.
First one was like a waiter. The second one was Mark Anthony. Yeah. The third... No, I don't even know.
Before. There was Ashley Judd or Judd, something Judd.
Oh, there's Chris Judd, the dancer.
Chris Judd, yeah.
Then there was Mark Anthony. Yeah. Then she was with Casper on and off. Mm-hmm. Then she was with A-Rod. Now back with Ben. And then Ben, I don't know where Ben fell in that.
Ben never engaged. They never got engaged, right?
They did. He gave her the pink diamond. She was the one that put pink diamonds on the map.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then the rumor is that they're doing these scenes to redo Jenny from the Block video.
I heard that, yeah.
And I think that they are, but I think they also are actually a couple and screwing.
What do you do with all the engagement rings? I mean, wasn't there 5, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, I bet they go back.
She just puts them
I mean, if you actually get married, you keep your ring.
Yeah.
But in most cases, if the engagement is broken, you send it back with an assistant.
Okay.
So there you go. This wedding did not work out. Kelly Clarkson is ordered to pay her ex-husband Brandon $200,000 a month in spousal and child support. Yeah. Because they figured out that she makes $1.5 million and change per month.
Good for her.
So I think she got off easy.
Well, he wanted $350, I read. So he's
technically he probably could have gotten, $7. Yeah. Right? Half of your income you're supposed to give to him.
I don't know where they got married. I think isn't that a California law? This might be different in wherever.
I mean, all she has to pay his $1.2 million in attorney's fees. Yeah. But you know what? If you're making $1.5 million a month,
you're fine,
all right, you gotta pay it. Like you just gotta pay it. If it was really that bad, and you really would rather be free. I think like maybe 6 years and 2 kids.
2 kids, yeah. Okay.
But her show is a hit. It's never going away.
We're gonna have a live audience. Is gonna be back in the next one.
Yeah.
Next year.
So it is what it is. And I think there was a lot in proving that he got her where he was because he and the father were like part of all those deals.
Yeah. Oh, is his father a record producer or something?
Yes, he's as rich as the guy from Sex Life.
Yeah.
No, I think the father was a manager.
Oh, okay.
So they said that the father and he helped get her on. She was a judge on one of those shows.
Yeah.
And then got her the talk show.
The Voice. Yeah,
yes, got her, worked on that deal.
Okay, good deal.
And all you need is one email of the guy writing to the person that actually had something to do with the talk show and said, let's have a meeting with Kelly in the talk show.
Can I bring up something that I find fascinating in the celebrity world? And I noticed it's coming with Chrissy Teigen a little bit happened. And also with I think she's been on this show actually. What is her name? She was an host and she wasn't making half the amount that Jason Kennedy was making.
Sadler, yeah.
Okay, I've noticed. I follow both of them on Instagram, and I noticed that what Chrissy Teigen is doing is she's now saying how much she loves and misses her followers, and she loves them, and she needs to get back into the good graces of people because she loves and misses her followers.
Yes,
who she doesn't really know in real life, but I just think it's an odd. And then I saw that Kat Sadler had gotten COVID or something.
Yes.
And then now she's healthy again,
right?
And she said that the reason why she was cured is because of her Instagram followers, the love of her Instagram followers. Cured. Yes. She really said this.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait, what? I mean, I just find that to be such bizarre behavior, and that is why I think a lot of people, especially think that Hollywood is filled with a bunch of freaks and weirdos because they post things like that.
Well, it's why people go, why can't you just stop posting? And you can't.
I know.
Because it's like a drug.
Yeah.
So you lay down in your bed and you read for 2 hours all the wonderful things about you, people DMing you. And then if you give them a little thing, then they're just like, oh, I'll tell you where to go to get your dog, nails clipped. Like they really want to answer your question, and I think it's like all good. I mean, I love hearing from my people, but I mean,
yeah. But if you were sick, do you think it would be the people or Instagram who healed you, brought you back to health, or it would be Peter bringing you?
It would not be Peter. First of all, it would absolutely not be Peter. No, He's like would be like. Thank God I'm never sick.
No,
honestly,
yeah, you really are never sick.
But I don't know. Okay, Chrissy Teigen, I need someone to figure this out because I don't want to put it out there if I'm wrong. I noticed that on her page when she first said, I want to come back and da-da-da.
I love
the next day, she did a post about her dog passing.
Oh, no.
But the way I read it, it sounded like it didn't just happen.
Oh.
And I was like, did this happen a while ago?
She's trying.
And she was like, let me put this in there so people are like, God, like, girl, you haven't had enough. Because she didn't say, at 7:30 last night, our little muffin went to heaven.
Right.
It was like, I missed this. It was something like that. Like I missed the dog, or it was not. And I was like, so if someone could just figure it out.
Yeah.
Did the dog die that day, or did the dog die like 3 months ago? And this was just a post to say, I miss this dog. But I find it very interesting that you're putting something sad and sympathetic when you're trying to get people back. Our cancel house, we've talked about. I've talked to Dr. Drew. I'm going to see him Thursday.
But first of all, let me tell you, Chrissy Teigen basically went on her Instagram recently and kind of stole the idea. She said, is there like a cancel club or something?
And then I wrote, yes, there is.
Yeah.
We are working on it. But the truth is we haven't pitched it because we're lazy and we're busy with our podcast and we just don't care. And
I don't have time.
And
I don't think we're going to get the good people. We're not going to get... Chrissy Teigen we might get. It seems like she's real desperate to talk to somebody. But I don't think you're going to get like Matt Lauer's not coming. You know what I mean? I don't know where he is.
Anyway, Dr. Drew will host it. I don't know what we would do, little challenges or something, You
basically just have to explain how it happened, why it happened.
But it has to be like a marriage boot camp where it's like crazy things. Like you guys are going to go in the water and you're going to have bricks pull down on your legs. And will you help another person get out? I don't know.
And then And then we bring Courtney Stodden into the living room and say terrible things about her.
Oh, yeah.
Or say only nice things.
Then you have people come in.
Yeah. Just say only nice
it could
things
be
about
juicy.
Courtney Stodden.
Um,
Or you have like like 5 guys.
Yeah.
You know, like Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, Kevin Spacey, and you parade like 4 attractive women down a hallway and say you cannot say a word to any of them or grab them.
Well, if it's Kevin Spacey, get a couple guys there too.
Yeah, get a couple
twinks.
Couple twinks too. You know.
Keep your hands to your sides.
And they have to not say a word.
Eyes up here.
And keep doing it until one of them cracks. It goes, I have to jerk off on her. I have to.
Chris, on that note, I'm very excited to announce that you'll be joining me.
Yes, I will.
In New York City at the City Winery. That weekend, we have 3 shows, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday.
It's in November.
I think it's November 5th and 6th, Friday and Saturday. And that'll be really fun. And the shows are different and they're lively. And we're doing a lot of different fun stuff.
I'm also joining you, unless I've been fired, in Nashville as well.
Oh, yes. And in Nashville, you guys.
Nashville.
And there's 2 shows in Nashville. So go to heathermcdonald.net. Chris, what do you have coming up?
I have a Philadelphia. I'll be performing at the City Winery in Philadelphia. Smaller room on October 2nd. October 2nd, Philadelphia City Winery. I'll be there solo.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to get back. I haven't been to Philadelphia in a long time.
It'll be great. You go to Franjola.
Franjola.com if it's updated. I don't know. Or my Instagram, but it's
And then Cover to Cover's the podcast.
Cover to Cover's my podcast.
Check it out.
Check it out. Give it a listen.
Follow him on Instagram. Give him some love. He doesn't have a lot to live for. He can't wait till the Olympics.
No.
In his backyard.
Yeah.
Love you.
So, thank you.
So now I'm talking directly to you, my Juicy Scoopers. I have some very exciting news for us. Juicy Scoop is number 2 of comedy interviews of all podcasts. So I am just under a podcast featuring 3 of the biggest guys in Hollywood, Will Arnett, Justin Bateman, and Sean Hayes. And then right under them is Juicy Scoop. And the reason I'm here because of you guys. As you know, I didn't have a big marketing team behind me. There aren't billboards. It's really word of mouth. It's you guys sharing it with your friends and family, posting about it on your social media, coming to my shows, subscribing, leaving a review. That is why I'm here 6 years later. So that is why Juicy Scoop is successful, because of you guys. So I want to implore to you to keep that going. Keep it going. Share the joy of Juicy Scoop with your friends and family. And have a great day.